Welcome back to PC-98 Paradise, the series where we take a close look at classic games for the NEC PC-98, the most popular Japanese PC series of the early 1990s. I'm Mr. Jakes. So today's game is Vain Dream 2, and don't worry if you haven't seen my video on Vain Dream 1, since the game's story is completely unrelated. Vain Dream 2 was released the year after the first, and since Glodia was done with the PC-88 by 1992, Vain Dream 2 became their first PC-98 original, so we've moved over to PC-98 Paradise here for the sequel. This and a few other Glodia games are available to download for free on the homepage of one of Glodia's programmers, presumably with the blessing of the copyright holders. The free version includes a few quality of life improvements, but I've got the original packaged version of the game here, so let's take a look. The manual is pretty thick and is in black and white. Limited editions of the game came with this 8cm CD containing arranged music from Emerald Dragon. The game comes on 5 floppy disks, which consist of the system disk, opening disk, and data disks A through C. Unlike the first one on PC-98, Vain Dream 2 has a hard drive installer, and it's on the system disk. Rather than a fancy install program, though, it's just a simple batch file that copies all the data to your hard drive. It also keeps saying I don't have enough space left, even though I do. When the installer is finished, we can navigate to the folder HDV2 on the hard drive and run either vd2.bat to go straight to the game, or op.bat to watch the opening. Vain Dream 2 takes place in a completely new world, so forget everything you know about the first one. Long ago, the people of this Vain Dream 2 world were a highly developed society with magical technology. In hopes of bringing eternal peace, the wise men decided to try and summon a goddess to their world. But the goddess they summoned turned out to be an evil goddess, who was only interested in killing everyone. She decimated their population. But the world was eventually saved by 2 dragon gods from another world, a gold dragon and a silver dragon. After the evil goddess was banished, the dragon gods were joined by 108 additional dragons, who would protect the remaining humans while they rebuild. These dragons were worshipped and came to be known as the Dragon Priests. And now, 900 years later, our story begins. The second half of the opening is full of awesome animation we never would have seen on the PC-88. A mysterious man riding a wyvern arrives at a castle and ruthlessly storms his way in. This stairway scene is awesome, with smooth animation and this surprised guy suddenly turning around. Then we see an altar with a crystal. I wonder what he's gonna do with the crystal. Okay, that's one option. The crystal fricking explodes. Cut to title card. When playing from the hard drive, we're then taken directly to the main menu. The music here is reused from Vain Dream 1, which is not really a good sign, and there are a handful of reused tracks throughout the game, though most of the music is original. And unlike Vain Dream 1, which had Soundboard 2 support on the PC-88, here we get only monaural FM sound on the PC-98. So a bit of a downgrade for those who played the 88 version of Vain Dream 1. The game's engine is also reused from the PC-98 version of Vain Dream 1. Even the backgrounds still only use every other line, which might seem like kind of a weird holdover from PC-88, but probably was kept to improve performance. Unfortunately, there isn't any way I can get rid of the black lines in this one, so enjoy, I guess. One weird issue that wasn't in the first one is that here you have Turbo Fire for the cancel/open menu button, forcing me to sometimes have to press it a few times in order to close the menu. This happens with both the keyboard and the controller, and the only way to alleviate the problem a little is to turn down the CPU speed. Luckily, this won't make your character move any slower, unless you turn it way too far down. So we start up the game and take the role of our protagonist, Warwick. And before we get to our real party members, we have a brief mission with a guy from the same village named Bougie. They travel to check on the dragon priest who protects the village, only to find that he's been attacked by another one of the dragon priests, which is weird since they never attack each other. The green dragon is dead, and they also find the body of their friend, who's been away and missing from the village for a year. The body is found standing up, wearing a strange suit of armor, which they don't recognize from any neighboring kingdom. The dragon priest is still just barely alive, and before he dies, tells Warwick to take a golden knife from the body of their friend, and bring it to someone named Paddish. We have the game's first cutscene, and unfortunately the cutscenes seem a bit fewer and further between than in the first one, though some of them do have some cool animation. Here, from the body of the green dragon, emerges a parasite demon, which is a monster that grows inside of another living being, controlling it and obtaining its power. Warwick and Bougie hide and let it go rather than attempting to fight it, since they know it has the power obtained from the dragon. Nobody back in the village has any idea who this Paddish the dragon told them to find is, but Warwick sets off on a quest to find him. Let's introduce the party members who will be accompanying him now. When Warwick first gets up at the beginning of the game, he says good morning to his mom, Reyna. Oh, wait a second, scratch that. Warwick is 25 and Reyna is his 23-year-old wife. These will be our first two party members throughout most of the game. Interesting, you don't really get that many married couples as your main RPG protagonists. The manual tells the story of how the two of them met on a quest in another land, along with an elf girl named Farneth. She's our next character. Her carefree and slightly immature personality is exactly what this game needs, since Warwick and Reyna are so mature and good-natured, they're about as interesting as cardboard. Now, the first Vain Dream had a max of only 3 characters, which the PC-98 struggled to handle. But now, without the PC-88 holding it back, the PC-98 easily handles 5. Next, we'll be joined by a traveling warrior named Ride, who says he's on his way to see that dragon priest who was just killed. When the party breaks the bad news and explains the purpose of their journey, he decides he has nothing better to do than come along. He seems like the usual cocky guy archetype who talks about picking up women, but still he's never shown to be too arrogant or clownish, and is an all-around good guy. Again, making him maybe a bit less funny and interesting than he otherwise could be. Now the main cast of characters has been assembled. The 5th slot will be filled by a rotating roster of temporary characters. And while Farneth may be the only one with much of an interesting personality, it is fun how the characters are constantly commenting on everything. I don't think I've ever seen an RPG where the characters make comments in the shops. After reading the description of a piece of equipment, they'll say, "That's a cool sword," or "Ooh, I want this, hey Warwick, let's buy it." So the game does kind of help you along, telling you which equipment is suitable for which character. You'll also see the characters wondering what could be inside a chest, and then reacting to the contents. By the way, this is the first one of these games where the Glodia theme isn't played when you open chests. Instead, there's a brand new version that plays when your characters level up. The battle system is exactly the same as in the first. One small new addition is that the weapons in the game can be leveled up by using them long enough. Or that's what it says in the game anyway. In reality, it's how adept the character is at using that type of weapon that's being leveled up, as I figured out later. And this time, instead of the rotating 3 different battle BGMs, they took the more standard approach of just one battle theme for the first half of the game and another for the second. Sound-wise, there are also a bunch of pre-recorded noises this time, like bangs and clangs when attacking enemies. Some enemies also make some really weird noises.
You just chopped the potion!
Enemies also tend to take more hits in this one, making the battles feel a little more beefy. They could often go by really quickly in the first game, especially on the PC-98 with its snappy interface. So the first section of the game sees the party traveling through the different human kingdoms and helping them out. We meet the king of the castle from the opening sequence, and he explains that a man riding a wyvern just came and destroyed the crystal in their basement. These elemental crystals, it is explained, are relics from the fallen civilization, which ward off evil monsters, and are kept by many of the kingdoms in the game. Without them, the monsters are able to just come and attack the castles. Monster attacks are on the rise lately, and the monsters are well organized, calling themselves the army of the evil goddess. It's suspected that she has returned. We'll meet a princess who briefly joins the party and help her get back to her kingdom, where the castle has been completely taken over by monsters. In the basement there, our characters will first meet that guy from the opening, who says he's taken the crystal, as well as the Panzer Dragoon. No, not the kingdom's only copy of Panzer Dragoon. Okay, but we'll explain what the Panzer Dragoons are later. They're not the same thing as the Dragon Knights, which is what they call the knights who ride wyverns. Anyway, the mysterious guy teleports out of there, but later on we'll find him fighting with Farneth's older brother, Brafford. We help Brafford to defeat him, but he runs away again. Farneth hasn't seen Brafford in a while, and finds that he is now wearing the same strange armor we found on the body of Warwick's friend in the cave. And remember that golden knife we found there that we're supposed to bring to someone named Paddish? Bradford gives us a second identical knife from these ruins, and tells us to bring both of them to Paddish. But without explaining who Paddish is or anything, he too disappears to chase after that mysterious villain guy. But from overhearing their conversation earlier, the party picks up on the fact that people wearing the strange armor are called Protector Knights. We were told earlier that in order to find out who Paddish is, we should seek out the help of another wise man named Cal. But to get to his castle, we need to travel across a sand ocean on a ship piloted by former pirates. What? Pirates? Sand pirates? And on the way, the ship is attacked by a sand whale named Moby Dick. On the other side of the sand ocean is Cal's castle. Cal turns out to be a vampire, but don't worry, he's a wise old friendly vampire. There we learn that the Protector Knights are individuals who've been chosen to protect each of the dragon priests, and who are given special dragon armor. The armor here in this castle belonged to a Protector Knight who perished along with his master in a battle 300 years ago. With the dragon priest gone, the area around the castle dried up and became an ocean of sand. Cal also finally tells us who Paddish is. He's another one of the dragon priests. Cal doesn't know where he is, but tells us we should ask one of the other dragon priests who lives at the last human kingdom we haven't visited yet. He also lends us a fifth party member, his butler, who is a war tiger named Nuts. Nuts changes into her human form, though, before coming along. She's nuts, but I already told you that, didn't I? So we meet the dragon priest in the next kingdom. Ooh, this is pretty cool, just like an emerald dragon. Wait, what the hell is that blinking cursor in the corner? Uh-oh, the game has crashed, isn't it? And it crashed in the same spot every time I tried to get through this cutscene. Ah, the joys of old computer games. When this kind of thing happens, there are a lot of different things we can try, like temporarily switching to an emulator, for instance. But the first thing I tried was simply booting the game directly from the floppy disks instead of the hard drive. And that worked fine, so I was able to move on, save my game, and go back to playing from the hard drive. Oh yeah, but what do we learn from this dragon priest in the cutscene? It turns out that the golden knives are the key to resurrecting the gold dragon, one of the two dragon gods who defeated the evil goddess 900 years ago. The dragon priest tells Warwick to head south. The knives will guide the way.
On the third day of the expedition, they came across a giant rubber plant. Unfortunately, they could not cut it down, for as we know, money can't buy knives.
We take a long journey through the land of the dwarves, and even have to fight a zombie version of Warwick's friend from the cave, before eventually arriving at the temple where Paddish resides. There we meet Thess, Paddish's Protector Knight. She gives us the third and final golden knife we need to revive the gold dragon. Nuts leaves the party here and is replaced by Thess, who will take us to her master. On the way there, we are shown several Panzer Dragoons, which Thess explains are living suits of armor used in the war 1,000 years ago, but there's no one strong enough to use them anymore. Anyway, next we'll meet Paddish, who gives us a huge exposition dump, so I think this is where I'll put the spoiler warning. You'll miss some fun scenes coming up, but skip ahead if you don't want to know any big reveals. We learn from Paddish that after the gold and silver dragon gods defeated the evil goddess, they went into hibernation to recover and allow their bodies to reform. But 300 years into the hibernation, something happened to the silver dragon. His spirit had been possessed by a piece of the evil goddess's spirit. She used the silver dragon's body to resurrect herself and gain his power. The remaining gold dragon, fearing the same thing could happen to him, decided to seal himself away using the 3 golden knives, so that he couldn't be corrupted. Paddish's job has been to watch over the gold dragon as he slumbers, but now we need to resurrect him. A god can only be defeated by another god, and so the gold dragon is our only hope. After making our way through another dungeon, we resurrect him. But uh-oh, he still needs a few more 100 years in the oven.
There's no need to panic. I can fix this. No, you won't fix anything.
He's in no condition to fight, but he says there is another who can defeat the evil goddess, his protector knight. Who's his protector knight? He doesn't have one yet, so who does he choose? Take one guess. But before he can become a protector knight, Warwick needs to fetch his new dragon armor from the top of a nearby tower. There, Warwick will be tested alone. I was pretty nervous about fighting without Reyna's overpowered magic to back me up, but luckily it's designed so that Warwick can get through pretty easily on his own. In the tower, we'll meet that mysterious guy from the opening again, and learn that his name is Steiner, the protector knight of the Black Dragon Priest. I have no idea how he got in here, but he's been waiting here for the one who will become the protector knight of the Gold Dragon. They fight, Warwick wins, and Steiner runs away saying that if Warwick becomes the protector knight, then they will surely meet again. Warwick comments that he felt no evil in his fighting. But near the top of the tower is the best scene in the game, which I'm going to read in its entirety. Keep in mind that this is a required scene to get through the game, not a hidden side quest or something, and what follows is an actual translation. Hey there, Warwick. It's been a while. Do you remember me? Of course I remember. How could I forget that crack on your chest and that dent on your shoulder? You're my armor from 3 years ago. I'm so glad you remember, Warwick. Well, my hand parts may be borrowed, but I'm your real armor. Oh my gosh, that's right. I was a bounty hunter and I needed money, so I sold you. Don't worry about it. You did what you had to. It's not your fault, Warwick. To tell you the truth, I was relieved when you sold me. Huh? What do you mean? At the time, you were reckless, fighting monsters every day, even joining a sword tournament once. You kept becoming stronger. I did my best, but I knew. I could see I was nearing my limit. You had mastered using me, but I couldn't give you the power you needed. No, that's not true. That isn't it at all, Breast Armor. Short Sword, who was with us at the time, felt the same. It was painful knowing that we were of no use to you anymore. Breast Armor. But I'm happy because you've been nominated to be a Protector Knight. I'm so proud of you, Warwick. Okay, that's enough talk. You know why I'm here, right? Yes. It's on, Warwick. Let's see how much you've grown. Breast Armor. You've become strong, Warwick, but I'm still the same as before. You've gotten so much stronger. You've grown so much, and yet I haven't changed. I'm sorry, Warwick. I haven't changed at all. I can't help you at all. You're wrong. You're wrong about that, Breast Armor. I've just realized now. 3 years ago, I always thought I was alone. I thought that was fine, but I was so wrong. You and Short Sword and the others were always there protecting me. Warwick. If it weren't for you guys, I would have been dead. Because of you, I'm here today. I'm so happy, Warwick. to hear that from a man who's about to be a protector knight. I'm the happiest armorer in the world. Good luck, Warwick. We'll be always together with you. Warwick reaches for the armor, but it breaks into tiny glittering pieces and dances away into the air. Thank you, breast armor. I'll never forget you. Okay, I don't need to play the rest of the game. Now I just want to know what happened to Short Sword and Small Shield. Alright, but Warwick fights some kind of armor boss at the top of the tower and takes his pick from the suits of armor there. He then has to bring it back to the Gold Dragon, who adds a piece of his spirit to the armor, which is the flaming jewel embedded in it. Now Warwick is finally a protector knight. The evil goddess is believed to be in the city of the ancient civilization, destroyed 900 years ago, but in order to travel there, we need to walk all the way back to the castle of that vampire, Cal. There, with Thess and his power combined, they send the party to the city. After our party is gone, though, we get to eavesdrop on a scene where Cal says he is going to revive the armor of the dragon who died at this castle 300 years ago somehow, by sacrificing his life. I guess he needs to do this because he was the protector knight who formerly wore the armor. So the party arrives at the city of the ancient civilization, where we can see some of their remaining magical technology. This part reminds me a lot of the city of the Horus from the end of Emerald Dragon, except here the inhabitants are ghosts, all stuck reliving the day when they were anxiously preparing to revive the goddess. It's a pretty long section of the game where of course we can find some of the best equipment. In the city, we'll fight that parasite demon who popped out of the green dragon near the beginning of the game. Afterward is a cutscene where the parasite demon tries to teleport away, and Reyna warns that getting close to him now means that they'll be warped away somewhere along with the parasite demon. But Raid ignores this warning and delivers the final blow. He introduces himself as the protector knight of the green dragon that the parasite demon popped out of. He apologizes to Warwick that he won't be around for the rest of the adventure as he and the demon disappear. Afterward, Thess says, "Let's hope the parasite demon's teleport magic was completed successfully, otherwise Raid will be stuck in subspace for eternity." The party carries on and meets up with Farneth's brother, Brafford, who fills the empty party slot. In a funny scene immediately after, Brafford gets thrown from one of the ballistic pods into a wall, and this will actually be important in a sec. But first, in order to get one of the best pieces of equipment, we have to get through this annoying checker puzzle. I can't figure out any rhyme or reason to this, but somehow eventually got through. The party learns that the evil goddess is somewhere under the city, but in order to get there, they're going to need to find some kind of crack in a floor or wall or something. So back to Brafford's dent in the wall, which they widen and jump through into the final dungeon of the game. There we fight a number of bosses, including Steiner, who's managed to climb into a Panzer Dragoon and take control of it. Then we fight regular Steiner before he is urgently called away by his Dragon Priest master. Then in the next corridor we have to part ways with Reyna and Farneth. The other characters are protected from the corrupting power of the evil goddess by their dragon armor, but since Reyna and Farneth aren't protector knights, they begin to fall under her influence. Reyna warps both of them out of there while she still can, and Warwick tells her to wait for him back at their village. He promises he'll be back. It's kind of strange to me that two of the main party members throughout the game won't get to be there in the end. But, well, I guess the game creators took their whole Protector Knight thing they came up with pretty seriously. And so next we meet back up with Raid, now wearing his dragon armor, and who didn't get lost in subspace after all, as well as Nuts, who is now wearing that armor her vampire master Cal resurrected by giving his own life. So we suddenly have this weird Protector Knight party for the very end of the game, which is the party on the cover art actually. Next we catch up with Steiner, who regrets to inform us that his Dragon Priest master has fallen completely under the control of the evil goddess. He knew his master was already under her control, but had tried to be a good Protector Knight following orders. He wanted to save his master, but in the end couldn't. He now vows to destroy him, but Thess traps him in a magical cage, saying the party will do it for him. A Protector Knight can't fight to his full potential against his master. So we fight the Black Dragon. In order to win, you have to use one of those elemental stones like the one that exploded in the opening sequence. Warwick wants Steiner to join our side, but that's not Steiner's style, and he runs off to fight the goddess, in his own way, he says. We'll obtain Steiner's sword as it comes flying out of the final boss room. We hear his voice say, "Can you hear me, Warwick? It's all up to you now," followed by a loud noise. The goddess says that last time she lost to the gold and silver dragons and had to flee this world, but this time will be different. With the silver dragon now completely sealed within her body and the gold dragon still not fully formed, her only foes left are the Protector Knights. She says she'll have to give us a god's blessing now herself. None of my characters could seem to hit her at all.
Myth.
Myth! Myth!
Myth.
Yeah.
Myth.
Myth!
I had wondered throughout the game if maybe when it makes that miss noise, the enemies might actually be taking a little bit of damage. And here I finally got my answer, though I could have just checked the manual. Eventually the goddess started flashing like she was low on HP, and after a long time, she finally went down. Fortunately, there's no second phase. We see our characters stumbling out, and in the ending, the silver dragon speaks to the evil goddess and is like, "We've got no business in this world anymore. I lost to you, and now you've lost to these Protector Knights. Come on, let's leave this world to the gold dragon and the dragon priests, and head home together." We see 2 balls of light float away into the sky, as well as a bunch of little balls of light that follow after out of the ancient city. I was surprised to hear the Vain Dream theme from the first game finally used here in the ending. Our heroes watch from afar, including even Steiner from behind. Then it's the credits, with a staff roster very similar to the one from the first game. Afterward, we're shown Warwick coming home to Reyna, with the snowy town music playing in the background again. Both ending themes are just reused tracks from the first game. So that's it. Unlike the first one, Vain Dream 2 doesn't have any optional subquests. The biggest secret is probably these secret passages in one particular dungeon where you can find some powerful equipment. I didn't find the game to be particularly difficult, but nevertheless there is an easy mode that can be enabled at any time in the system menu. There's no music mode or music disc for Vain Dream 2, but there is a way to listen to the music on the PC-98 if you want. Just take a program called ckmus.exe from the opening disc of Emerald Dragon for PC-98 and copy it to the Play folder in Vain Dream 2. Running the program along with any of the sound files in the folder will play them. The only port of Vain Dream 2 was on the FM towns. Once again, this is pretty similar to the other Glodia ports for the towns, with voices and arranged music during the cutscenes, and FM sound during the game. The FM sound in this one is in stereo, and as for the graphics, this one also doesn't have those black lines in the backgrounds. Unlike Emerald Dragon and Vain Dream 1, in this one they didn't redraw any of the cutscene graphics. They're all taken directly from the PC-98. I guess Vain Dream 2 was still pretty new at the time, and they didn't feel the need to update anything. The PC-98 graphics were already pretty high-res anyway. Vain Dream 2 is one of those unusual sequels where the only connection to the first is the game engine rather than the story. The games aren't even thematically very similar, though they do both involve a lost civilization. But what JRPG doesn't anyway? One weakness of the first game was just how bland the characters were, aside from the main couple, who had at least some minor character flaws to make them memorable. The second game practically has the opposite problem. While it is kind of refreshing to have a married couple for the leads, Warwick and Reyna are just so mature, selfless, heroic, and without flaw. There's not even much of any arc for Warwick other than becoming stronger. At least throughout the adventure they're joined by Farneth, who adds a bit of playfulness and comic relief. The game does definitely have a sense of humor about itself, and maybe even goes a bit overboard with it at a few points. If I had to choose between the two Vain Dreams, personally I'd take the first one. I preferred the soundtrack and the frequent cutscenes. Also, Triss and Mel are just a more interesting couple. The second does have a more epic story, especially in the second half, but if you're someone who wants every RPG you play to be some kind of unforgettable, life-changing experience, then you probably don't have time for either of the Vain Dream games, really. Nowadays, this kind of thing is only for those who love the early 90s 16-bit RPG aesthetic and can't get enough of it. And if that's what you're looking for, then both Vain Dream games are very decent RPGs. I thoroughly enjoyed playing through both of them. Thanks for watching this episode of PC-98 Paradise. These two Vain Dream games are the only videos I've done so far this year that weren't patron requests. I hope you enjoyed watching these videos about games that I just felt like playing through. My patrons have been so generous supporting me over the years, and I wouldn't be able to continue making videos without them. As always, thanks to everybody for watching, and I hope to see you back again soon.